I want to bring in Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware and a member of the Foreign Relations and Budget Committees. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
The Senate did unanimously pass that resolution standing by Israel, something you co-sponsored. What do you think Hillary Clinton brings to this now?
Well, I think Secretary Clinton moving to the Middle East to stand by our most important ally, Israel, is an important signal of our engagement. For the Senate of the United States to unanimously adopt a resolution reaffirming our support for Israel's right of self-defense, and for we as a country to continue to support systems like Iron Dome, which has made possible an effective anti-ballistic missile system in Israel, are all, I think, critical signs that the United States will stand by Israel when they choose to respond after thousands of unprompted missile attacks from Gaza. My hope is that Secretary Clinton, by going to the region, will help cement not just a temporary peace, but a more enduring peace, and will, as EJ just mentioned, signal a stronger engagement in the region by a second Obama-Biden administration, where I think Secretary Clinton is uniquely capable of helping move past this very tense moment of conflict and restart a peace process that all parties would like to see move forward.
What do you think of the idea that EJ just put forward, and that I'm sure you've heard as well, the possibility of former President Clinton being sent as a Mideast envoy?
Well, President Clinton is a uniquely skilled political figure, someone I think well regarded on all sides and trusted by many parties in the region. I'm somewhat encouraged to see President Morsi seeming to be willing to play a more constructive role here. But this is a region where there's a great deal of instability. The ongoing efforts by Iran to develop nuclear capability, the painful ongoing strife in Syria, and the very real security threats faced by Israel, I think call for a more active and forward-leaning American role, and President Clinton, as a special envoy, would bring that unique capability to the region on behalf of all of us from the United States.
There's also been some analysis that this is a warm-up of sorts for Israel to take action against Iran. Do you see that happening here?
Well, I don't think that what they're doing in responding to unprovoked attacks from Gaza is literally warming up for an attack on Iran, but I do think that they are demonstrating a clear-eyed and serious determination to defend the nation of Israel, something I support and I believe all of my colleagues in the Senate support as well. So they are sending an important signal to the region that Israel will continue to maintain an effective self-defense.
Let me switch gears and talk a little bit about this bill you're sponsoring. It would provide grants to states that perform the voting process there. You saw a need for this after we saw very long lines for voting in Ohio, some people in Florida who waited 7 hours. Tell us how this would help.
That's right, Chris. We saw 2 weeks ago in our federal elections long lines, not just an hour or two, but 5, 6, 7 hours in Virginia, in Colorado, in Wisconsin, in Florida. Several of the elections for Congress weren't called until just the past few days. And when we're 12 years past that debacle of the 2000 election, I think it's critical that we put a competitive grant pool of money out there and challenge states to audit what went wrong and to propose the best changes they can make in registration, in early voting, in vote by mail, in voting access, and, given the lessons learned from Hurricane Sandy, to make sure that we are better prepared for conducting or delaying a federal election in the event of a natural disaster. My act, the Fast Voting Act of 2012, if adopted by Congress, would put a modest amount of money out there as a challenge grant to encourage states to look seriously at what changes they need to make to ensure this most fundamental of American rights, the right to vote.
A number of Democrats have already joined you, but considering the lengths that some on the other side of the aisle have gone to insist that voters, for example, show ID or to limit early voting, what are the chances you're going to get some support on the Republican side?
Well, my hope is that after this election, all of us will focus on things that we need to do to strengthen our country. The right to vote is in our DNA. It's very fundamental to American democracy. And so although there were some partisan efforts to suppress the vote by reducing the number of hours or voting locations or changing the rules of voting, I hope that we can get Republican co-sponsors for this bill in the House and the Senate who will join me and other senators and embrace the idea that we send a message to the rest of the world When we conduct elections and there are obvious flaws and challenges in them, I think it sends a negative message. When we conduct elections and they're free and fair and open and broadly participated in by Americans, I think that sends a positive message. So I'm hopeful that in this post-election season, I can secure some Republican co-sponsors for this Fast Voting Act of 2012.
Senator Chris Coons, good to see you. Thanks so much and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Chris.